Hey guys, it's been a long time since I've done an extended video, so since I have the opportunity, I thought, well, let me get one done because I don't know when the next one will be. But I didn't really have anything really in particular to go over. It's just basically kind of where I'm at, and probably perfect timing because I am less than 20 days away from my 1 year, I guess you would call it, stroke anniversary, ruptured anniversary, you name it. So the impact of like this coming so close has taken me on quite a mental journey, as with anyone going through any type of trauma. I try to say this, and it's not true for everyone, but in my belief, when something happens, I think, it's like shock and survival mode. And then as months go, it's like you've got a handle on things and feel empowered. And then, then you just crash into those waves. And then you get back on top and it crashes. And then once like it gets very close to the year, it's like, it's hard. I mean, think of like, if you've lost a loved one, 1 year from their passing, it's awful, especially the first year, and it will always be sad every single year. But I think the first year for anything is very upsetting, especially if it was so traumatic and you do have somewhat of a memory of like what transpired until you were completely out of consciousness. So I've just been riding on a lot of these waves where I feel just great. And, I'm like, I've got this under control. And then I hit a funk. And I think the last time I did an extended video, I was going through a really bad 3 months of where I just was like over emotional, and I just could not bring myself to find things that were happy. And I said a lot of it had to do with the current state of our world, compounded by what I'm going through. So it just wasn't a good cocktail for me. And, I took a trip and I felt refreshed, and I came back, and, things kind of got good. And then all of a sudden, it's like I just start riding these waves again. And because I'm coming up to this 1 year mark, it has really intensified. And I know that I have post-traumatic stress disorder over this, and I find myself, initially I had very bad nightmares where I was reliving the moment over and over, or I was pronounced dead. And then that kind of tapered off, and then it come in, come out, and so forth. But now it's back, full force, where I am dreaming about this constantly. And I can't even escape thinking about it at this point. It is running through my head full speed 24 hours a day. And I say 24 hours a day because when I'm sleeping, it's still a part of me. So it's really hard to you know, like I've tried so many different things to be like, this can't control your life. Like, this cannot dominate your every single day. So, as in a grief cycle, I bargained with myself and I said, you know, you're gonna think about it, let it happen, and then you're allowed to think about it. But then afterwards, think about other things. So that's kind of what I've been doing is bargaining with myself. So it's really hard, and I apologize. I did not think I was gonna get emotional. And I'm not gonna cut and re-record because this is real. This is real, pure emotion. This is what I feel every day. I can't escape it. I feel like every day I have to try to be strong, and sometimes it's not enough. Like, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I got up and I went on with my the motions of life and I made it, and that's strong, you know? Like, I'm not just sitting in a ball in a fetal position crying all day. Like, I am moving on every day and doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I give myself credit for that. But it's just like, I don't know, like there's times where I have survivor's guilt where I feel guilty that I'm alive. I feel guilty when all I have to complain about is short-term memory loss and other people have other stuff going on. And like I just I don't know. And it's like I can't compare myself to other people, and a lot of these people I'm comparing myself to are doing just fine, or at least it seems to be fine. So, and then there's moments where like I forget stuff, and like it's so frustrating to like be told something and then have to ask over again. Like, what did I can't remember. Can you tell me that again? And for God knows whatever reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, and this kind of makes me laugh, work, I don't have any short-term memory with work. You can tell me something at work, and for some reason it sticks. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm not finding myself at a loss when I'm working. I don't know if it's just because I've been in the industry for so long that it just is so easy for me to recall. But even like new things that go on, like I don't forget it. And that's what's like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, my life moments here in this house or whatever, like those are escaping, but work isn't. Like, I don't understand this, you know? And it's just hard. So, I also feel like I'm a burden. For so many reasons. I don't know why. I feel like I'm a weakling, and I'm not. And I feel like people are trying to, and I understand it, like take extra special care of me. Like, I mean, I was a strong woman. Like, I did stuff, I helped out, and now it's like, now I'm being protected because it's like, no, we don't want you to risk hurting yourself, or, and it just kind of chops down that instinct in me of where I'm like rolling up my sleeves and ready to help out. And I tried, and, you know, they're right. I mean, I have fallen off a ladder, and thank God I caught myself over Thanksgiving holidays. Like, I hit my head, and I don't even remember how. So I had a concussion. And, it's like, there's like a part of me where it's like, you are functioning every day, but you have got to protect that you have a valve in the back of your head. And it scares me because it's like, if that thing like gets hit hard, I don't even know. And then, you know, I've said this before in videos where, after my stroke happened, and, after the couple of surgeries and doing a follow up, I told my neurosurgeon, I said, thank you, you've cured my migraines. And she said, no, I didn't. And I was like, yeah, yeah, just take the credit and let's move on. And then all of a sudden, oh God, she was right. They came back. And so I have, because she's a neurosurgeon, so she's not going to see me for anything other than rechecks for, surgery, which I think I see her in February. It's like a week. I had my first brain surgery on February 5th, and I have my angiogram on the 11th, I believe. So I see her then. But she assigned me to a neurologist to manage the other stuff, like the headaches. And, and they've given me migraine medication, and I've done a tape where one of the samples really did a number on me where it's like I'm scared to take any kind of medication. But finally, my neurosurgeon or neurologist was able to go back into records of when I first had migraines, and thank God for record keeping, because she found the medication that I had taken when I was first getting migraines when I was 21. And so she put me back on that, and that has worked wonders. I mean, it's not any migraine medication. I mean, they haven't come out with it yet. It's not fast acting, like immediate relief. But I mean, it takes about a couple hours and then you're fine. So, I mean, and a lot of people who don't understand migraines are like, 2 hours. It's like, oh no, you take the 2 hours over how long these things last. And not only that, the next day you get a hangover, a migraine hangover, which is awful. And so that alleviates that. But I've noticed that my migraines have been coming on more strong. And, a lot of it's because I'm stressed out to the max, because I am just reliving everything. And oddly enough, this time last year, there was a lot of work stress going on. And it seems like I'm on a repeat because there's a lot of work stress going on again. And all of a sudden I'm feeling like these massive like headaches, and I'm like, oh God, like, is this gonna happen again? Like, am I like about ready to have another stroke. And there was one day where I moved my head and it almost felt like a rubber band snap again. And I was like, oh my God. And so now I'm questioning myself on whether or not, do I go to the emergency room? Like, when do I, so I question myself and then I stress myself out over that. So, you know, I, I, I do not blame my work. So, it's just the fact, I mean, I could be at any place and, work stress exists everywhere. So it just so happens that, I mean, for some reason, January is a very bad month. So next year, I am saving up vacation time to take off as much time in January as possible. Um, so I've just been dealing with that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, so I'm like this week I had to take a lot of deep breathers where I had to like collect myself. And not only that, I've been pretty sick since like last week. I got sick, and it was not COVID by any means. It's just your run-of-the-mill winter illness, but everyone treats it like COVID, but at least I'm not out there, so whatever. But like I was losing my voice, and I just felt like crap. And then all the stuff was falling apart, and there's one part in a call where I just broke down. I was like, I'm too sick to deal with this. And like, I don't know, I'm like, you gotta learn how to put your foot down sometimes. And I did. I put my foot down. I needed to rest. But I'm very thankful. I have very understanding people, management wise and everything. I feel really supported. So that's the one thing that keeps me going, is that. But I don't know. I'm also noticing that, like, and I don't know if this is normal. This is something I'm going to bring up in one of my appointments coming up. And I always say don't ask anyone for medical advice. So I'm not asking. I'm just letting you know what's going through. But I've noticed that my skull has been more almost like it's like there's more grooves or something. Like it's almost like the skull is like expanding or something. And because now that I finally am starting to get hair and styling, like I'm touching, I'm like, oh my God, like I can feel like all of these dents, and then they keep going further. And then I did notice that like my shunt, it feels like it shifted downwards a little bit. So those are just weird things that I've noticed. But thankfully, I guess I've got appointments coming up. But it's just been in retrospect, it's just been a very interesting year, for sure. There's like a huge list of I nevers that I never thought. So I never thought I would have a stroke or a ruptured aneurysm or anything at my age, and it happened. I didn't think that I would live through a pandemic. I I didn't think we would go back to Civil War like mentality and embarrassment of the United States, basically, of how everything's transpiring. Never thought that. Never thought that. But that's not my point on politics. I'm trying to leave that out. It is exhausting though to watch. I mean, it's just like, oh God, you know, in the beginning it was like news conferences breaking in all the time about like, it reminds me, I don't know why I thought of this recently, but it's like, and I think I wrote this in my blog because it finally hit me what this all reminds me of. It is like Harry Potter. And you know when they're like towards the last two, when they're like, you know, height or, you know, traveling and being out of sight, and you know, they're listening to the radio of loved ones passing away and stuff, and it's like I feel like watching TV every day is like that, where you're hearing like the death numbers, and then it's like these dementors are just like hanging over us, over everything, and it just feels just like something out of a novel that's going on. And I just, there's only so many things I can focus on, you know, so I am trying to numb myself on certain things. And you know, I've had to pick stuff to numb myself to, and I've selected that. Unfortunately, I can't numb myself to my feelings with like what's happened to me, and then, you know, coming up on my, you know, 1 year mark. Like I can't ignore that. And you know, I said I made a bargain to myself that I can't let it control my entire day. So, but when I hit my 1 year mark, I'm gonna allow myself to feel everything in the world possible. And that's just gonna be it. I'm not holding back. I'm not putting on a brave face. I don't care. It is what it is. I'm very big on the mental health aspect of a stroke journey and ruptured aneurysm, because it's just stuff that's not covered very well, or we all feel it, and some of us select to not showcase it, which understandable. That's, I mean, who wants to do what I'm doing right now, where I'm crying? But I think it's important, you know, that there should be this really needs to be factored into like aftercare after this happens. And like I said, it's just not good enough to me to say that there's support groups out there, which really has, you know, hit me at the wrong time, because, you know, no support groups. I mean, I think there might be a couple Zoom things here and there, but, you know, nothing like that. You know, I have my own personal therapy that I'm doing, you know, to work things out myself. But, you know, that's something that I kind of had to do an undertaking on my own. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I was not prepared, and I don't think that they feel that that is their job. I mean, they're there to operate on you and let you go. But like I said, they give you a booklet of everything to expect, physically wise. And I really feel like mental preparedness of what you're going to feel really makes a huge difference, because if you can tackle it soon or understand that these are normal feelings of, and not feeling like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I think that would be a huge service to those who, once they walk out that door, now it's another battle to be fought, and they're fighting alone. We're all fighting alone. I mean, we have loved ones that are in our corner, but you don't know. No one will understand what's going on inside your mind unless you've been through it yourself. I mean, they can be supportive and, and stuff, but I mean, no one understands. And unless you've been through it, and that's kind of, you know, um, I said during one of my moments of, when I was doing therapy, and I like, no, not to discredit you, but have you had one before? Of course not. And it's like, then you really just don't understand. So I don't know if it exists or something needs to start. I don't know, but I wish there were. It's kind of like if you're an alcoholic and you're going through recovery, generally, with rehabs, usually the people working there were alcoholics. And so while they're helping you, a lot of these people are like, man, I've been there, like, and so information's more well received. Um, I have not been to an alcoholics thing. I'm basing this off of shows I watch, like Intervention. So, but, so it's like, if there was more of, kind of hard to do. I mean, statistically, older people usually have this type of thing happen, not younger people, but it just would be nice to have someone that is a therapist, psychologist, whatever, that's been through this type of ordeal, that is like, I understand. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't want that. I don't know. I mean, everyone's got their own opinions, but it's just very hard to explain exactly what's going on, and everyone's expectations of, you should be at this point by now, or you should be at that point by now, or this is getting old. When are you gonna snap to? Or just the pure guilt of being fatigued all the time too. I had very bad stroke fatigue. It's been getting better lately, but I don't know if that's just because I've been so amped up on other things going on, that my adrenaline is going. But I feel bad because I feel like I'm missing out on some moments because I'm like not really present because I'm like tired. Like for holidays and stuff, it's like, okay, like I wish I could stay longer, but I can't handle like being like, I need to rest. So it's just, it's like you feel guilty about that stuff. So And then, there's physical changes, not only just like with skull, and I've brought this up, and I mean, this really isn't a massive deal, but for some reason I'm fixated on it. But like, um, you know, I I really didn't. I used to be a big workout buff, and then I stopped. But now I'm like, I don't know. So there was a period where I lost a lot of weight, and I was probably down to unhealthy um, this time last year. In fact, I look at my engagement photos and I'm like, ugh, like that was not good. Um, and so, anyways, because after the stroke, and not, and being very limited, like I gained weight, and I'm at what the weight that I should be, like this, I'm at the perfect weight, but I was just really stunned on how quick it came on, and I'm like, this stupid little seeds popped in my head, like, oh my God, is it going to continue to keep going? So, I mean, that, and then I'm like, that's so stupid to even think about that, but like, I'm limited on like working out, but I do every night resistant bands, like doing workouts and stuff, and even if it's not doing anything, I mean, it is getting my limbs moving, and because I am kind of just sitting on the couch all day working, and I mean, that's the extent to it, other than running a few errands, um, to Target and so forth. And, it's not like I'm at work where, I'm parked in no man's land and walking 500 years to get to the door in heels. And, and then all the walking around in the building, I guess I just didn't realize how much exercise that was. Not to mention, because when I would go to work, almost every night I went to Target after work, and I wasn't really getting anything. It's sad to say, but Target is my peace place. Something about the lighting, their displays, I don't know what they've done, but that store calms me down. So every day after work, I would go there, and I call my mom, talk on the phone with my mom, and I would just walk around the store and walk around the store, and it like was decompressing, and then I came home. So that probably, that was that's a lot of exercise, and I mean, it was a good way to kind of like wind down. So, and now it's like if I go to Target, I'm like, I'm in and I'm out. Like, it is awful in there. It's like my Target is a gigantic Target. Everyone uses it. And now, like, they have like 3 lanes open, and then the self checkout, which I prefer because I'm a professional shopper. I'm like, really know how to like hurry up, get the stuff, and go. Self checkout, like, I mean, almost every machine is down, and so like there's like all these long lines. So I'm just like, oh, forget it. So I mean, really, I just go up there and go get my medications and hope to God that like the lines are down. And I would go later, but normally, like, I'm picking up my medications since they're all staggered out when they get refilled. So it's like I'm up there like one day, and then 2 days later I'm up there, and they have hours they close. So, stupid, right? I know I'm talking about that. But so, anyways, it's stupid to fixate on my body. I understand, and I think it leads me back to back in my eating disorder days, where I never had a body image issue in my ever growing up. Never did I ever have a body image issue. I just was not negative, and I only had an eating issue when things in my life got out of control, and that's kind of what I feel like. I don't want to go back to that way, like, because I feel that things are out of control, and because my weight's gone up, like now I'm like, like I feel like it's out of control, and I'm everything else, and I don't want to fall back in that trap of doing stuff to and I won't, trust me. I've been down that rabbit hole, and I don't ever want to go back that way. So really it's just me having to say words of affirmation that, Wendy, the number on the scale means nothing, because there can be several factors into a number on a scale. It may not be calibrated right. I can go to one doctor's office in a day and then travel to another appointment that day, and they be totally different. So, I mean, who's to say what's right? During the day, obviously you're not going to be at your lowest weight because you've consumed and food and fluids and so forth, and water retention and so forth. So really, who cares about the number on this scale? And and then they say it's all on how do your clothes fit. And well, because last year or 2 years ago I lost 20 pounds because of a POTS disorder, where my metabolism was on overdrive. So it was unintentional weight loss. Like I did everything, and it's funny, I'm complaining right now, whereas before I tried everything I could to put weight on, and it just kept on going off and off and off. I mean, I was close to like the 100-pound mark. And in fact, when I was hospitalized, the doctor was like, she needs to gain some weight. So, I had to like buy all new clothes to fit, my new body type, because I had to do that when I lost all that weight, because